your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com. It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Introducing Bark in the Belly Premium Dog Food. 100% of profits go to help dogs in need.
Over 30% of adults struggle with chronic foot and joint pain, and many face mobility limitations as they age. But a revolutionary Comfort First slipper has taken the wellness world by storm. Try Cloud Slides and feel you are walking on the clouds. Cloud Slides.
Welcome on in. Wicked Boston Show, Rogue Media Sports Network. I'm your host, Cam Stuart. Zach Burke is behind the glass, keeping us on the air 5 days a week, live on YouTube, noon Eastern time, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. Yes, I'm doing it from the road today. I'm in a hotel. I'm doing it. I am fighting a pretty bad cold right now. So T's and P's to Cam Stewart, the host of the Wicked Boston Show. But today we're here to talk about the Patriots making it 6 in a row, 7-2 overall, and probably getting just a little bit lucky in getting that. We'll go over whether they were lucky or not. Well, also, I do want to talk about the Bruins, man. One of the hottest teams in the NHL the last week or so, kind of out of nowhere. Last time we were talking about them, we were talking about the tank. Let's see if this is sustainable. We will have Mike Debate of Sports Illustrated coming on to break down this Patriots game. Look ahead to the trade deadline. Kayshon Boutte out? Are you going to need to go out and get another receiver? You're going to like his answer. And also, we will start to look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Finally, a real test for the Patriots or something like that. And one of the great World Series in recent memory wrapped up this weekend. And all I could think was, I really hope John Henry is watching this, because this could greatly affect the Red Sox as early as next season. All that and more coming up on this episode of the Wicked Boston Show. But of course, we start where we start. Patriots 24, Falcons 23. 6 wins in a row atop the AFC East, 7-2 overall. But did the Patriots get lucky? Were they lucky to survive Foxborough with a 1-point win over a 3-5 Falcons team? The answer, my friends, is yes. They were lucky. They are lucky to be 7-2. But that's because it's like holding, man. There's holding on every play. There's luck in every win in the NFL. Okay? It's not an easy thing to do to win in this league. We used to think it was easy. For a couple of decades, we thought it was easy. But the last 2 years have proven to us that it is certainly not easy to win in this league. But yeah, the Patriots didn't play that well in the second half, especially offensively. And they won by a point. And the last touchdown scored by the opponent, they missed the extra point. So, yeah, like to some degree, they were lucky. But you do make your own luck in this league. There's not a single team in the NFL that wins 6 in a row and doesn't feel like they got lucky in one of them. You know, we could go through the greatest regular season team of all time, the 2007 Patriots, and I can count you 4 or 5 times where they were lucky. You know, Monday night, Baltimore, that ring a bell, we're lucky. You know, you got to be good. You got to earn yourself some luck. You know, if the Patriots were just lucky but weren't very good, then maybe they would have lost 23-3 instead of 45-3, you know? But they are good, and they got a little bit lucky, and they win it 24-23. But who's to say that Drake May couldn't have led a 2-minute drive at the end of the ball game? We've seen that before. We've seen that this season. We've seen that on this winning streak. Who's to say the Patriots don't win it in overtime? You know, like who's to say the Falcons didn't get a little lucky with some of the bounces, some of the matchups they got in this game? You know, it happens. It happens. The point is that there was a good chance the Patriots didn't win 6 games the last 2 seasons, man. It took them almost 2 entire seasons to win 6 games. So when you win 6 in a row, that happens. That happens. And to be totally honest with you, the Patriots needed this game. They needed a game like this, probably at this point in the season, right? Like you haven't hit your bye week yet, but your schedule is going to get tougher. You're going to get more divisional games, obviously, mostly in December as we enter into November here. And you're right before the trade deadline. So you see what you've got on your team. You see what you need. You've been in some dogfights here. And this is exactly what the Patriots needed. I think a lot of Patriots fans were kind of just writing off this game. Okay, Patriots beat everybody, man. They're going to beat Atlanta. You know, Atlanta, Michael Penix, who's that? You know, they see a team that's 3-4 and playing in the worst division in football, arguably. And they say the Patriots are going to roll over that. And I said at the end of this show last week, or the end of the week on the show, of like, don't take this one for granted here. Like Atlanta went into this game with the best pass defense in the league, and they can get after the quarterback a little bit for the first time in years. Garrett Chapman talked about that when we had him on the show on Friday to break this thing down or to preview it, that they can get after the quarterback a little bit. The other thing that we talked about is this. They've got some dudes on that team. You know, what you saw offensively against Miami the week before for the Falcons, that was an aberration. That was an anomaly. Okay. The way Kirk Cousins runs this offense, is very different and is a lot worse than how Michael Penix runs that offense. Is Michael Penix as good as Drake May? No, but he pushes the ball down the field pretty well, can go up and get those balls for Drake London that we saw all damn day. And Kirk Cousins can't do that. And so in a game where Kirk Cousins is the quarterback and Drake London isn't available, your offense is going to look a lot worse than what it did against the Patriots on Sunday. But man, speaking of, I just didn't think there was a way that in this game that Drake May would be the second best Drake in the game. I mean, Drake London, 9 for 118, 13 a catch, and 3 touchdowns. It was so easy. And he was doing it against Christian Gonzalez, man, who had kind of, I don't want to say a rough game, but wasn't his best work. Gets hurt at the end of it. Always a concern. Drake landed on his head. Drake London did. So that didn't look great. But they had a couple of times where they matched him up with Marcus Jones. And sometimes the height is just going to beat Marcus Jones. Like sometimes that's just going to happen. That's what you got to live with, especially when you're giving him $12 million a year. It doesn't happen often this year. In fact, this is probably the first time I remember it really happening this year. But Drake London used his height advantage over him. And it was a good game for Penix. Good game. Not terribly accurate. That's what he is, but threw for 220 and 3 touchdowns, didn't turn the ball over. Wish I could say the same about Drake May. That's another thing that makes this game or gives this game a good I don't want to say silver lining because they won, but a good lesson in there is you've still got an issue or two with your young stud potential MVP quarterback this year. It hadn't happened in the other 5 games of the winning streak, but it's happening now, and that is he's turning the ball over. That turnover before halftime, that almost lost them the game in hindsight. The script completely flipped after that. After you had a nice 2-touchdown quarter, you were up 21-10 at that point. 21-7 at that point. You had a chance to go up 24-7. You don't do it because you fumbled the football. Jalen Walker, a guy who I really wanted on the Patriots, I'm okay with Will Campbell, makes the play. And all of a sudden, you go from, again, being potentially 24 or 28-7. You go into the locker room, it's 21-14. Totally different ball game. And the Patriots only score 3 more points the rest of the game. It was that first drive of the second half. They kicked a field goal, and then other than that, they were shut out. And Drake May had another turnover. He threw a pick. He had a pick. He had a fumble that was recovered inside the 10, and he was sacked 6 times. So there are some things absolutely still that this team needs to work on. But as I'm going to talk about with Mike Debate in a few minutes in the second segment, I think this came at the perfect time. Because next week, it starts up again, really, with the Bucs on the road. And then you get arguably the worst team in football in the New York Jets. So you get them at home, but you got them on a short week going in on Thursday. And then you go to Cincinnati. Burrow won't be available for that game, but they've been playing some pretty good football, or Joe Flacco's been playing some pretty good football, I should say. The Bengals have not. They're 2-7, but Joe Flacco's playing some pretty good football there. And then upstart Giants team, Bills at home at the Ravens, and then you got a couple of cream puffs in your own division to end the season. But this is where it's going to ramp up a little bit. And it's interesting that not good, but interesting that you finally have some injuries before the trade deadline. I'm talking Ramondre Stevenson. I'm talking Kayshon Boutte. You passed a test here where it wasn't always easy in this game. But in this league, a win is a win. And that's pretty damn tough to do. And the Patriots figured it out. So let me know what you thought about this Patriots game, whether they were lucky or not. Let me know in the comment section below. It's better to be lucky sometimes than it is to be good. And I'll tell you this, the Boston Bruins aren't good, okay? But they're playing like it right now. 4 wins out of 5 from the Boston Bruins. And, it started with beating Colorado in regulation, not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before, and saying, man, you might have just beaten the best team in the league in regulation. And then a week later, the next Saturday, I'm sitting here saying, wow, you might have just beaten the best team in the league in regulation. It's a hard-fought, gritty victory against the Carolina Hurricanes on Saturday. No goals until the third period, and they win it 2-1. And that's how they've been doing it the last couple of games. Is it sustainable? I don't know, but it's the most sustainable model they could ask for, this Bruins team. Like, the problem with the way they were losing before last week wasn't just that they were losing, but the fact that they were giving up all kinds of goals, man. They're giving up 7 goals. You can't outscore your problems on this team. You know, you look at the Vegas game, you look at the Anaheim game, you look at the Ottawa game. That was the only blowout. 6, 7, 7. Like, you keep giving up 5, 6, 7 goals a night. You're never going to win doing that. But what we've seen over the last week is what? A 3-1, a 2-1. I think you got a 4-1 in there with an empty netter. 4-2, excuse me. Like, that's how you're going to win games. That is going to be how you win games. And so that's the thing that I'm taking away from this Bruins sort of streak here. David Pastrnak has not gone nuclear the last week. Morgan Geekie has looked much better. Charlie McAvoy has looked much better. That pairing with he and Nikita Zadorov looks excellent. And I don't know if Mason Lohrei is long for this team, man. I think it's really turned in a heartbeat, but that's not what we're talking about right now. You know, Korpisalo looks okay. He looks okay. Casey Middlestat scored another goal. That second line's looking better. Middlestat and Arvidsson scored this week, man. There are things that are not going to be great. They're not going to have much offensive talent this year. Like that, don't get that twisted, okay? They are not going to have good 5-on-5 offense the whole season. But that doesn't mean you can't win any games in this league. What we said before the season is if this team was really piss and vinegar, like Cam Neely talked about, they were going to need to be pricks. They were going to need to be defensively structured and sound. They were going to need to get good goaltending and have good special teams. And the last week, they have had that. They have had that the last week. 4 out of 5 ain't nothing to sneeze at. But it's no 6 in a row. And that's what we're talking about with the Patriots right now. Mike Debate of Sports Illustrated is going to join us to talk about that 6th win in a row and what that means for the Patriots going forward. We're going to take a short break, and we'll come right back with Mike Debate right here on the Wicked Boston Show.
WhyPersonalLoans.com. Request a loan anytime. Our partners can offer loans up to $35,000 with varying rates and terms. Review your loan offer with no obligation and decide what works for you. Visit PersonalLoans.com today.
Unlock a world of convenience with Mullybox, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your taste. Mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
I am obsessed with helping business owners increase their traffic and turn it into profit through the power of Pinterest marketing. It's this amazing platform where people are looking for ideas, inspiration. They have a problem and they're actively looking for a solution.
Bubble wasn't here. I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
At Mapiful, we believe in celebrating your journey. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mapiful.com and start celebrating your story today.
Welcome back in. Wicked Boston Show, Rogue Media Network. Your host, Cam Stewart, Zach Burke behind the glass, keeping us on the air 5 days a week, live on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts as well. Wasn't the prettiest, but it is 6 in a row. And the Patriots are 7-2. A little bit lucky. Yeah, sometimes you need luck in the NFL. And the guy who keeps me grounded every Monday is our next guest. And that is Mike Debate of Sports Illustrated, covering the Patriots, and our weekly guest every Monday, the Monday morning quarterback, if you will. Monday slightly past afternoon in the Eastern time. But Mike, I talked about last segment how, it's a little bit lucky. A little bit a little bit of luck there, but that's the mistakes the Patriots were making the last couple of years. Like we do have a greater appreciation for this again, that it does take a lot to win in this league. But I want to start with this question. If I were billing this game for you, Patriots, Falcons, and I told you there is going to be a Drake on the field who nearly wins the game for his team by himself, did you have it as Drake London instead of Drake May?
I wouldn't have, but I mean,
good player.
You look at what Drake London did on the field on Sunday. It really is remarkable. And then 119 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns, single-handedly between he and Michael Penix, really keeping the Falcons in this game and nearly pulling it out. I mean, you can make the argument that John Parker Romo doesn't push that ball slightly wide and to the right. That's a tie ball game, and then all of a sudden, all bets are off. Who knows how that's going to come down? Whether or not it would have come down in the Patriots' favor, or whether or not we would have gone to overtime. So much can land on individual plays, and that's why every point, every fight, every yard. I feel like Al Pacino on any given Sunday, but I mean, really, I'm channeling my inner Tony D right now. But no, all kidding aside, it really is. I mean, it really is a game of inches, and you really have to protect the football every opportunity you get, at every point you possibly can, and keep playing right through the buzzer. And Sunday's win over the Falcons definitely proved it for the New England Patriots.
You got to scratch and claw for every bleep an inch. And it ends that way with you talking about, the missed PAT, but it really starts that way as well, right, Mike? Because right before halftime, the Patriots got the ball, and they're getting the ball to start the second half. They have a chance with less than a minute left, make it 24-3 is what, or excuse me, 24-10 is what it would have made it. And then the Drake May fumble. We have not seen a turnover from him in the winning streak. It wouldn't be the last in this game. And that changes everything. The Falcons almost punched it into the end zone on that play. They do punch it into the end zone before the half. And all of a sudden you're looking at, instead of 24-10, you're looking at 20-17, and the Falcons are hanging around for the rest of that game. And it kind of goes to show that there is still some room for this Patriots team to grow.
Oh, without question. This New England Patriots team right now is playing at a high level. They're playing to their competition. They're winning games that they should. They're winning close games. They're finding ways to win, all things that playoff caliber teams do. But I think on Sunday you saw some cracks in the foundation, so to speak. And, Drake May had probably his shakiest outing of the season in terms of being able to control his fate when he had the opportunity to do so. He pulled it out in the end, and you've got to give the kid an awful lot of credit for hanging in there. Most quarterbacks would have hung their head. Second year, first year, rookies, whoever, they probably would have folded when he started to have some of the difficulties with problems hanging on to the football. And then, of course, the interception. I think Drake understood that this was his opportunity to rise to the occasion, did it, and pulled it out in the end. But, you saw some difficulties that the offensive line had in terms of providing protection. It was a rough day in protection for Michael Wenu. He's the veteran. He's the guy everyone looks to on that line. He's got to be better without any question. And now a potential injury to Kayshon Boutte. What do the Patriots do to try to mitigate that? How long is he going to be out? These are all questions that Mike Vrabel will be answering in the coming days. So a lot to take away from the field if you're the New England Patriots, and it's going to be a hard week of work at practice with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now in their sights for a big Week 10 matchup.
And that's the one everyone's had circled since the beginning, since the Buffalo win, really, of like, hey, you can run off a couple in a row here, but then you got Tampa, and they have done that. They've run off a couple in a row, and I think it feels like such a coachable moment in this game, Mike, is like just this game in general, because you look at the box score, and nothing's terrible outside of 2 turnovers to nothing, but it's not like Pittsburgh when it was 5 turnovers, right? Drake May, 19-29, which is a very inaccurate game for him, but pretty good for just about anybody else living. 260 yards, a couple touchdowns. They're 8 of 12 on third down. Like that's you're sitting there, you're looking at the box score if you didn't watch the game, and you're thinking, where did it all go wrong? And so I guess then, is it just the margins where they did enough wrong to make this a tighter game than it should have been?
Yeah, and I think it also, you have to give credit to Michael Penix. You have to give credit to Drake London for making plays when they did. Look, I mean, Christian Gonzalez was, matched up against Drake in man coverage, did a fairly good job. But let's face it, Drake made some tremendous plays. Drake London, that is, made some tremendous plays even on Christian. So in that regard, you got to tip your cap and give credit where credit is due to your opponent and say they played a hell of a game. This Atlanta Falcons team is not an also-ran. I know a lot of people looked at their record, 3-4 coming in. Oh, yeah, they should win this one. This is a win. I even fell victim to that at times throughout the week, looking at this game and saying, well, the run defense on Atlanta is not so great. Yeah, tremendous pass defense, but they can run the ball and they can find the problems that they had. That's a monster pass defense, and not just with a lockdown secondary. These guys proved that they can get after the quarterback. Drake May absorbing 6 sacks on Sunday. That's got to change moving forward as well. So all of those factors that you roll in to an Atlanta Falcons potential victory, it's not a surprise that this game was as close as it was. And again, you want to give Raheem Morris a lot of credit too. He had his guys come in ready to play. He knew what the Patriots could be susceptible for, and he went at it. And at times it worked, at times it didn't. It worked just a little bit more in the Patriots' favor this week, but believe me when I tell you, that one was right down the line and could have gone either way at numerous times throughout that game.
Yeah, and I mean, it's evidenced by coming down to a missed PAT. I mean, how often does that happen? More than it used to, but it doesn't happen very often. Mike, I don't love doing the what if game. I don't, but I kind of want to just for a second here, okay, if you don't mind, because
absolutely,
Will Campbell is a good pick. I think we can say that, right? Obviously, kind of a rough week last week against Myles Garrett, but it's a tough, game number 8 of his NFL career to go against Myles Garrett. It is what it is. But the guy whom I actually wanted the Patriots to pick when I was buying into the whole his hands are too small thing was this linebacker from Georgia who ended up sliding and going to the Atlanta Falcons. And Jalen Walker was a monster against the Patriots yesterday, an absolute monster. So I just want to this is where the what if comes into things. Like if we'd settled that Will Campbell could not play tackle in this league before the draft, would that have been a guy you were looking at it for?
Yeah, he was a guy that I was looking at it for quite often during the mock draft Mondays that we were all holding and looking at potential Patriots picks. You started to see Walker's name pop up on a lot of Patriots pundits. And then the fan base started to catch on. And then the national pundits started to catch on to this as well and say, well, yeah, this is how Mike Vrabel likes to play defense. Terrell Williams, Mike Vrabel, forward-moving defense that doesn't quit and gets after the quarterback. And look, you saw Jalen Walker have a tremendous game. 5 total tackles, 2 sacks for 26 yards, 2 tackles for a loss, hit the quarterback twice, forced a fumble, and defense to pass. I mean, really, that is a tremendous stat sheet for any linebacker, any defender. But when you think about the fact that this kid's a rookie, the sky is the limit for Jalen Walker, and he's got that nonstop motor constantly going. The Falcons got themselves a good one. So I'm not going to go out on a limb and say the Patriots made the wrong pick. They needed the left tackle of the future, and I do believe that Will Campbell has been everything they've hoped he will be to this point in the season. He needs more seasoning, obviously. There's a lot that he needs to improve on, but I think that he's put a lot of the rumors or a lot of the worries to rest about arm length and things of that nature. This kid's a left tackle, and he's a starting left tackle at the pro level. He'll be fine. He just has to learn greater technique, and I think maybe a little way to play around some of his deficiencies. Once you get him in that mode, he'll be just fine, and I think he's been very good this season. But it's hard to argue with Jalen Walker right now. I mean, he really is. He's a guy that Patriots fans are probably going to look at for quite some time, and they're going to play the what-if game, and I don't blame them for it.
Yeah, it's like you hear about him all the time. Like, I don't know. Toronto is not unhappy that they selected Chris Bosh, but Detroit's sitting there ahead of him with Darko Milicic. Like, oh man, you know what I mean? So there's some of that. But look, a big blow on the offensive side, and we're talking with Mike Debate of Sports Illustrated here, talking about the Patriots' victory over Atlanta. Kayshon Boutte misses the most of this game. It's kind of interesting timing. I don't want to say perfect timing, but we were talking about trade deadline the last couple of weeks here, and it looked like Patriots probably don't have to go receiver. Like, they need some other things much more than they need a receiver right now. There's good chemistry from the and one of the big reasons why people thought why that was a consensus is because Kayshon Boutte has been playing really well this season. If he's out for any significant amount of time, with the schedule heating up and how good this team can be, do you think they revisit wide receiver before Tuesday afternoon?
There's a possibility. I think we have to learn a lot more about Kayshon's injury, and I think we will as Monday progresses. At the time we're recording this, there's not a whole lot of information surrounding it, so it's difficult to say with any degree of accuracy, or they have to do this because he's going to be out for a long period of time. Hamstring injuries for a wide receiver can be tricky. And you know as well as I do that they did miss Kayshon Boutte's ability to be that big type game receiver down the line when they were trying to make completions and trying to make things work. They clearly missed his presence in the second half. So if that's the case, and someone like a Kyle Williams is not ready to step into that role just yet, then yeah, the Patriots may have to look at a receiver, maybe through the trade deadline. Maybe they wait and try to see if there are any post-trade deadline casualties and cuts that will allow them to be able to maybe pick someone up, off the waiver wire, bring them in, cultivate them into their system. That could be an interesting question because clearly Demario Douglas playing high. Stephon Diggs continues to play well. They're well suited with those two guys, but I think you saw today, or I should say on Sunday, that this team right now does need that third body to be able to go in there and to make things a lot easier on Drake May. And especially if you've got the tight ends out there and they're acting as pass catchers, you need that other guy. Is Williams ready to step it up yet? If he's not, they may want to look to someone now because, Kayshon has been arguably their top performing receiver through the first 9 weeks of the season.
Yeah, and it's funny, we talk about they've got the most accurate deep ball quarterback in the league, and it feels like they don't really have a deep ball threat, right? Like Pop Douglas can get open down the field. We've seen that a couple of times this year. Stephon Diggs can get open down the field because he's Stephon Diggs. But Boutte basically became that, and it's something that came to light in the last week based off what's happened in Baton Rouge, is that he went into LSU as that guy, as a take the top off the defense kind of guy, and Everett, Massachusetts native Brian Kelly comes down and there, makes him a slot receiver, and all of a sudden he's falling to the 6th round. But that is something that could be very interesting for the Patriots, as they have capital to throw around. They obviously have a lot of money, more money than anybody in the league, to spend on extending guys, because they've talked about looking at this as not just a trade deadline for 2025, but with an eye towards their future. So I know you've written about this. What position are you thinking they're prioritizing the most for Tuesday afternoon's deadline?
I still think it's edge, and I still think that's what they're going to look for. I still think they're looking at someone that can come in and be a factor in this pass rush, someone that can come around the edges and really be, an addition to this, defense that I think they thought they might have been getting in Keion White, and just for whatever reason, Keion was not that fit here. He's much better rushing in the interior than he is on the edge. So the Patriots can pick someone up. I think it would be defense, but again, injury is always the great equalizer. And as we've said earlier, I mean, there are indications that the Pats may be in the market now for a receiver because of Kayshon's injury. We still don't know the extent to which Ramondre Stevenson is going to be out. If it is turf toe, like a lot of people are rumoring around out there right now, that's not just a 1 week thing. Turf toe sounds benign. It sounds like it's a really, easy injury to get over. It is extremely painful. Anyone that's had a lot of things about Patriots are going to go for need and whatever they feel is in the best interest of the football team. We'll see how this all shakes out between now and 4 p.m. on Tuesday.
And for Patriots fans, this is if you're going to get injuries, it's coming at a good time, right in the middle of the season before the trade deadline, because the Patriots have been very lucky with injuries so far this year. I know a couple of weeks ago, it felt like they dodged a bullet with Harold Landry. That would have been the New Orleans game, right? And I think they've done very well to avoid injuries so far this season, and that's a big reason why you're sitting there at 7-2. One place where they're not hurting at all is in the run game defensively. Obviously, offense actually had a pretty good couple of weeks before this one running the football. But defensively, they're still the number one rush defense in football. And we kind of touted it last week as potentially your two MVP candidates right now going up against each other, maybe an OPOY versus an MVP and Drake May on one side and Bijan Robinson on the other. They hold another very talented back in check. I know it's been a rough couple of weeks for Bijan, but they held him in check once again. When you look at this run defense, is that the thing that you say, you know what, you get that with the quarterback? That's where you can go far in January.
Oh, absolutely. Especially as the temperature begins to drop and we know teams are going to start running the football a lot more. And in that regard, this team is playing at as high of a level as I've seen a Patriots team play when it comes to stopping the run. Another major factor in the Falcons' offense is Bijan Robinson. He's arguably their most explosive player. You figured if this streak was going to end, it would end to someone like Bijan Robinson, and it didn't. The Patriots kept it going. That streak continues to go. It's the longest in the NFL. If they are able to do this against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this coming week, that's 10 weeks in a row. That ties the NFL record. If they do it 1 week beyond that, this team will set an NFL record for holding a primary running back on an opponent's team to less than 50 yards rushing per game. That really is a tremendous, credit to Mike Vrabel and the way that this team is coached, and the defensive line and everybody coming together to make sure that the Patriots improved in run defense. That was an Achilles heel for this team last year. Certainly is not. It is clearly their strength when they come out and take the field every single week. So good on them for really righting the wrong and putting the personnel in place to be able to do it. Not just the defensive front, but also the linebackers. You get help from the secondary. This run defense is as good as it gets right now. And they'll face a tough task against Tampa Bay this week, but the way they're playing, really, I mean, you have to tip your cap to them. It really is remarkable.
Speaking of that, I know you're in the preliminary stages of getting ready for your Bucks coverage this week, but this is the one that we kind of looked at, right? Of like, hey, the Tampa's the next one you got after Buffalo that you won't be favored in, probably is the way we looked at it. Who knows now at 7-2 they might be, but you go on the road. You face another guy who's in the MVP discussion still in Baker Mayfield, and a team that has gotten stronger the last couple of seasons. They've benefited from playing in the NFC South, of course, but how do you see this as, like, where do you rank this as Patriots tests so far this season? Obviously, Buffalo on the road is a pretty legit one, but more than halfway through the season, this is one of their toughest games so far.
Oh, without question. Absolutely without question. And what's amazing is that they're getting the type of high-level play, especially on offense, with significant guys that have either been out, banged up, on IR. You're talking Mike Evans, you're talking Bucky Irving, Chris Godwin. I mean, all of these guys at some point have either been placed on injured reserve or banged up, and they're still continuing to find ways to win. And Baker Mayfield has been the reason why. He's getting great protection from his O-line, and they've been solid, but you look at what Baker is able to do, and he's a guy that comes in without fear. He knows their capabilities. He knows his play. He's going to run as best he possibly can. And that, defense that Tampa Bay is running as well is going to give everything that they can to make life difficult and life harder on Drake May. So this is going to be a tough test. The Buffalo Bills, I thought, were an extremely tough test as well. It amazes me how a lot of people are looking past that win, saying, oh, the Patriots haven't beat anybody. Well, yeah, they did. They beat the Buffalo Bills.
Pretty good win.
The last I checked, had a pretty impressive showing on Sunday. So, bottom line, I think there's all opportunities for these games to really live up to the hype. But to me, this one will do it. Tampa Bay is very well set in all three phases, and I think it may be the toughest test the Patriots have had to date, simply because I think it's going to be an opponent that they're not quite familiar with. And I think it's going to be a real tight one coming up. I'm really looking forward not only to covering this game, but just even to watching it as a fan. This is going to be one that I think Patriots fans are really going to get excited for.
it could really start to open some more eyes around the league if they weren't open already. Although I will say the national media, I think, has turned to the Patriots. I think they realize what a streak this is. And I will say, Baker Mayfield, great season, very tough quarterback to go against, but I like it better than the last matchup quarterback-wise, the last time the Patriots played the Bucs. I'm just leaving it there. Mike Debate, Sports Illustrated. How can people find your work?
You can find me on New England Patriots on SI. That's si.com/NFL/Patriots/on SI. You can find my work and the work of all the great writers that we have over there. Continuing to break down this 24-23 win over the Falcons. We'll bask in the glow of this for a couple of days, and then we're on to Tampa Bay and going to start to cover what I think is going to be one of the bigger games coming up on this Week 10 slate. So catch us over at New England Patriots on SI.
Oh, can't wait. Can't wait to break this all down. Mike, really appreciate you taking the time as always.
Anytime, Cam. Thanks so much for having me. Looking forward to doing this again next week, man.
Oh, can't wait. Can't wait. There he goes. Mike Debate of Sports Illustrated, covering the Patriots inside and out. Our absolute favorite Patriots guest to have on every week. Guys, let me know what you thought about this game in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, because we come at you every weekday live at noon Eastern time, available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts as well. Coming up next, let's take a look at the Fall Classic. America lost, and so did Canada. But when I look at this World Series, all I'm asking is, please, John Henry, are you watching this thing? We'll talk about it next on the Wicked Boston Show. NFL fans, what's your favorite touchdown? For me, it's the next one. Because with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. From first touchdown scorer to anytime TD props, or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. Lines and odds subject to change. Here's the best part. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Your team hitting pay dirt pays out to you. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code CAMSHOW. That's code CAMSHOW for new customers to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort Kansas, pass-through of per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Welcome to Market XLS, your all-in-one Excel solution for investors. Designed as an enterprise-grade platform, Market XLS caters to investment managers, secure and efficient investment management and research. Book your free demo.
What if you could clean clean? With bio-based formulas and deep cleaning enzymes. No dyes, phthalates, or mystery ingredients. Just powerful pods for your dishes and laundry. Now you can, with drops made clean, made to clean.
Welcome back. Wicked Boston Show, Rogue Media Network. Your host, Cam Stewart, Zach Burke behind the glass, keeping us on the air 5 days a week, live on YouTube at noon Eastern time, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. Thanks to Mike again, man. He always does a great job helping us break down the game that was for the New England Patriots. And I think we're in lockstep on that one. The Patriots needed a game like that. It was, of course, not the sporting event of the weekend, though. Man. What a great World Series. Overall, hate the way it ended. I wasn't rooting for the Dodgers, of course, but what a great World Series. I was watching it. You were watching it. America was watching it. Canada was watching it. And God, I'm praying that John Henry was watching it. I really hope the people high up cutting the checks for the Boston Red Sox were watching that series. But you know what? It's the same thing I said last year. It's the same thing I said last year when the Dodgers won. Look, the Dodgers spend more than almost anybody in baseball, and they win the World Series. Is that the only reason? No, because the only team that spent more than them this year was the New York Mets, and they didn't even make the postseason. You know, it's not the only thing. But if you want a seat at that table, you do have to spend money. Okay? And that is something that has frustrated Red Sox fans for years now. They put together the greatest Red Sox team of all time in 2018. They rolled through everybody. And then within 2 years of that, they said, we can't do this anymore. We can't spend money. We can't go over the luxury tax. We can't be taxed on that. These other teams that haven't cared, they're the ones that are winning the World Series. Each of the last 5 World Series champions did pay the luxury tax this year. Each of the last 5 World Series winners paid the luxury tax this year in 2025. One of which, of course, being the 2-time defending champion Los Angeles Dodgers. And I know the Red Sox started to spend some money last year by bringing in Alex Bregman. They obviously before that, their last big offering was to Trevor Story. And they've made some good extensions this year, not at huge money, but at pretty good money, right? Guys like Garrett Crochet. I think the Brian Bayo one is still a good extension they made last year. And Roman Anthony, I think, is still a good one. But the Dodgers will show you that you have to go out there and pay market value for these guys. Even the Astros didn't even make the playoffs this year. They paid the luxury tax. They're a penny pinching team, or at least so we thought. But the Dodgers went out there and they get those guys. And it's got to hurt as a Red Sox fan to watch this team win the World Series. Mookie Betts, 3rd World Series title with them. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And on his plaque, he's going to be wearing a Los Angeles Dodgers cap. That's a guy that you drafted, that you developed, that you brought into this league. They just didn't want to pay him market value. But we get it. Like that's way in the past, right? You know who's not way in the past? Yamamoto. The MVP of this World Series, the hero of it. The guy who started Game 6 and ended Game 7. The Red Sox were at the table with Yamamoto. They wouldn't go over $300 million. Dodgers said, sure, we'll make you the highest paid pitcher in history. It's worked out for them. It's worked out pretty well. Hindsight's 20/20, but clearly the Red Sox were just pawns in that game saying we won't go over $300 million so that someone would go over $300 million. And that's exactly what happened. You could have had this happening for you. You needed an ace before 2024. You needed an ace. You decided to wait a year. You punted an entire season. And oh, by the way, you could have had Yamamoto and Garrett Crochet. Yamamoto, all it cost you was money. Crochet, you got in a trade and then extended at very good value. Not a lot of money to extend Garrett Crochet at 6 years, 170. Like you could have done that. You could have locked up, almost $500 million in your top 2 starters. You could have done that. Instead, you decided not to. And Yamamoto is winning World Series MVP as a cult hero with somebody else. You could have extended Mookie Betts before the 2019 season instead of Xander Bogaerts, instead of Chris Sale, instead of Nathan Eovaldi, who did pretty well in that contract, but you didn't. And now he's winning his 3rd World Series with the Los Angeles Dodgers. And our guy, friend of the show, Jackson Roberts, actually wrote a great piece for Sports Illustrated about what the Red Sox can learn from this Dodgers team. And he made a great point. And that basically it's going to boil down to the Dustin May trade. I thought this at the time. I said this on the show at the time. You went out there. You needed to go make some big moves at the deadline to show that you were serious. You didn't do it. But you brought in Dustin May. And I just remember thinking at the time, they'd faced May the week before. He hadn't had a good season to that point. And I'm thinking, the Los Angeles Dodgers, a team who at the time still had just as good a chance as anybody to win the World Series, a playoff contender at the trade deadline, is not just getting rid of starting pitching. That never happens in the history of baseball, ever. But you decide, this guy's different. This Dustin May, we can fix him. And the Dodgers are sitting there thinking, okay, yeah, we'll take 2 prospects. Sure. Yeah, name your price, man. They were bidding against themselves. The Dodgers saw that we're a good team. We don't need Dustin May. And they look at the Red Sox going out to trade for Dustin May and thinking, that's not a contender. That team does not have what it takes. And I don't think they know that they don't have what it takes. They don't know what it takes at this point as a front office to put together a team even near the Los Angeles Dodgers. And the thing that also sticks out to me is obviously why everybody hates the Dodgers. This just immeasurable collection of talent for obscene prices, right? They have the second highest payroll in baseball. They don't care who knows it. They're from the biggest market in the sport, other than maybe New York. And they're not afraid to flaunt that. The Red Sox used to not be afraid to flaunt that. They used to not care. The Red Sox were not kidding themselves and thinking they were the Kansas City Royals and they were this great plucky underdog story. No, they spent a lot of money, man, all the time. All their great World Series teams had a lot of money tied into the payroll. The Dodgers don't care about alignment in their franchise. That's what the Red Sox say when they trade great homegrown talent. They say, oh, yeah, we need better alignment. The Dodgers say, we need better players. We need more runs. We need to give up less runs. We need to win baseball games, and then we'll win the World Series. Because when the Dodgers went out and got Freddie Freeman, they didn't say, oh, well, now we need to trade Mookie Betts. And when they went out and got Shohei Ohtani, they didn't sit there and think, oh, we need to trade Freddie Freeman now. We need some more alignment. We need the flexibility. They don't do that. They keep those guys. They add to those guys. But the Red Sox are the opposite. When they finally do go out and spend some money and they say, Alex Bregman, $40 million a year, you're a Boston Red Sox, they think, oh, shit. We need to trade Rafael Devers. We need to trade whoever the first bidder is that will take his entire contract. We need to get rid of him so that we can sell to our fan base that, oh, we're going to get the next one. We're going to get the next bite of the apple. We're freed up some money so we can go out and get the next guy. And who knows how legit they are about that. But the Dodgers are a good team, and they don't think like that. They don't think, I got Shohei Ohtani, I need to get rid of Freddie Freeman to become more flexible. No, they don't do that. In fact, Mookie Betts had his worst year in LA, still a pretty good year this past year. And they're not thinking, oh, how can we get rid of him? How can we get out from underneath this? They see where he gives them value in the postseason, and he gave them value in the postseason. It's a philosophy that the good teams in baseball, including the New York Yankees, by the way, live by, that the Red Sox don't right now. And I'm done taking Dodgers pitchers because both of them that they got the last year totally sucked, and you could have seen it coming. Dustin May and Walker Buehler was the other one. I'm sorry, man. When the Los Angeles Dodgers, who have dealt with all the injuries from Walker Buehler the last few years, don't want to even extend a short-term contract to him after he was a playoff hero, then guess what? He's probably got nothing left. Go and ask the Red Sox. They'll tell you he's got nothing left after they paid him $20 million for a little over half of one season. And so I hope John Henry is watching. I hope Craig Breslow's watching. That's how a big market team operates in 2025. And the Blue Jays didn't pay the luxury tax, but they weren't that far off. The Blue Jays spent themselves some money as well. And you know what they did, though? They extended a great homegrown talent in Vlad Guerrero Jr. Extended him. That's how they got the 5th highest payroll in baseball this year, at the beginning of the season. The beginning of the season, the Red Sox were 12th. And they got $260 million off the books in the middle of the season for the duration of the Rafi Devers contract. So it was $30 million a year for this season. They got off the books. But you look at the teams that were in it, other than the Mets, it's the Dodgers, world champions. The Yankees knocked you out of the playoffs. Phillies, best team in the National League for most of the year. Toronto Blue Jays, American League champions. Like, this is what we're talking about. These are the teams that spend the money. The Padres, the Cubs, they're both ahead of you. The Diamondbacks are ahead of you, and so are the Rangers, but the Braves, they have some other problems. But it just goes to show you're not winning at the biggest table unless you are spending. And the Red Sox think they're spending. They like to tell their fans that they're spending. But there's a realistic opportunity that Alex Bregman does not re-sign here. It's that you're looking back at last year when they went in and spent some money, and Alex Bregman's gone, and Rafael Devers is gone, and potentially even Trevor Story is gone. And then you think, well, what good was that? What good was that? And the answer is you need to go in and spend more. You need to not be afraid at some of these big name free agents like they were with Yamamoto, like they were with Juan Soto, which didn't fill the biggest need they had, but you kind of catch my drift there. But instead, they'll probably think, okay, we just need to get cheaper. We just need to get even cheaper and just develop more of that talent and keep locking them up, because it might screw you when it comes to Christian Campbell and his trade value. It might screw you if you ever want to trade Cedar Rafaela. But there's a lot the Red Sox can learn from this World Series. A lot. And damn, man, I really wish Toronto could have pulled it off. I really wish Toronto could have pulled it off. Kike Hernandez, another World Series championship. Guy you didn't pay. I'm okay that you didn't pay Kike Hernandez. Okay, very okay with that. But, man, what a series. It obviously, I think it would have gone down as one of the best of all time if Toronto had won. If you had that moment of a walk-off in an unbelievable ballpark at this point, the Rogers Center. It used to be a dump. But really tough place to play. Like, if they have the walk-off, they have that moment, that goes down as one of the greatest World Series of all time. It should anyway, but people will forget because America lost and so did Canada too. So let me know what you think. Can the Red Sox learn from this Dodgers team and how they've done it the last two seasons? Because they should have learned last year, and they feel like they did because they went out and got Bregman, and that could all be gone. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, because, of course, we come at you every weekday live, noon Eastern time, and then available wherever you get your podcasts as well. Special shout-out to Mike Debate for coming on the show. Another shout-out to Zach Burke for keeping us on the air 5 days a week, and a shout-out to you for following along in your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio here on The Wicked Boston Show. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. We will see you again tomorrow for another edition of The Wicked Boston Show.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit OpenGOAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.